Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Princess Strong Style 9v2 and I'm back with another video. This is Match Review Episode 5. And for today's match review, I'm going to be reviewing a match that features one of the competitors in tonight's main event for the WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view for the SmackDown brand. Elimination Chamber match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Champion John Cena defending against Baron Corbin, Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, The Miz, and one of the two competitors in today's featured matchup that I'm going to be reviewing, the phenomenal AJ Styles. Now, back in November, I believe it was, November the 9th, I created a poll for a match review you guys wanted me to do that was Wrestle Kingdom related. And I had a bunch of matches that I put on the poll, and it was very difficult for me which matches I should have put on the poll. So I just decided, what the hell, just put up all the great matches or all the noteworthy matches from New Japan's premier event of the year on the poll. And the winner we'll get to in a second, but the runner-ups were, for third place, we got Kota Ibushi versus Shinsuke Nakamura from Wrestle Kingdom 9 for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship with, with 22% of the vote. In second place, with 33% of the vote, was the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 10 for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kazuchika Okada. And the winner of the poll was, with 44% of the vote, the semi-main event of that same show for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Champion Shinsuke Nakamura defending against AJ Styles from Wrestle Kingdom 10. Good call, guys. This was a match I was really looking forward to watching and rewatching again, and for me to review right now. So, back in December, I believe it was New Year's Eve actually, I actually had the time to try to watch the match, but because I had limited time in order to get all of my notes prepared for this, I wasn't able to review it. But thankfully now I got the time to do it, so I'm going to be watching. I already watched it just a while ago actually, just like 10 minutes ago, this matchup, and now I'm going to review it. So, this is the semi-main event for the IWGP Intercontinental title. And how was this matchup set up? So, in November of 2015, it was the main event for the IWGP Intercontinental title. Shinsuke Nakamura defending against the challenger Carl Anderson. Great matchup, actually. Definite recommendation and a definite match to see if, for those of you who want to see Carl Anderson in a singles matchup. But after winning the championship back in September at Destruction and having his first title defense here, Shinsuke Nakamura had sent out a challenge for anyone to face him at Wrestle Kingdom 10 for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. And in the post-match of this main event for Power Struggle, AJ Styles accepted with the classic moment where he grabbed the championship belt, handed it to Nakamura, pointed at it, and said, "I'm taking this." And the crowd popped. And how I popped for it as well via my review. If you guys remember my Power Struggle 2015 review, I just said, we're finally going to get Nakamura versus Styles at Wrestle Kingdom 10. Holy shit. I was so excited at the time, and I was really anticipating a classic matchup here. Now the question is, for those of you who may or may not know, did these two ever have a singles match prior to this matchup right here? The answer is no. Did they have interactions? Yes, they were a part of two different matches, and they were actually tag matches. Let me look them up real quick. First, it was actually August the 16th, 2008. Surprisingly, 4 days after my 10th birthday, which is awesome to know. And it was actually from the G1 Climax in 2008. An interesting, a bit of a dream tag team matchup right here. It was Kurt Angle and Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles and Hiroshi Tanahashi. So yeah, that's the first time those two interacted in a New Japan ring or a ring in general, and in a dream tag team matchup right there, that had to be freaking awesome to know. And the second time these two guys interacted was actually in the New Japan World Tag League in 2015, November 2015, following AJ Styles accepting the challenge. It was AJ and Yujiro Takahashi versus Tomohiro Ishii and Shinsuke Nakamura from Day 5 of the World Tag League. So yeah, they only interacted twice. I know there was another multi-man tag that they were a part of, but they weren't like specific focal points of that match. So yeah. And yeah, AJ just accepted the challenge and we get to this matchup. But before we get to that, there was a quick thing I want to note. During the World Tag League, I don't think it was that matchup that I just mentioned, but AJ hurt his back, and AJ had to pull out of the World Tag League, but was still able to compete at Ring of Honor's Final Battle about a week later to face Jay Lethal in the main event for the ROH World title, which I heard was a fantastic matchup. And, yeah. And at the time when I heard it, I was like, oh my god, please, 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 don't let this back injury or the back complications hinder this matchup too much. And thankfully it didn't, because when we get to here in this semi-main event position at Wrestle Kingdom, holy shit, this match delivered tenfold, 100%, guys. When Wrestle Kingdom 10 was announced and I looked at the card, I said in my preview / my predictions video that I put out prior to the show, that this was my most anticipated match of the show, even more than Tanahashi-Okada. And a lot of you know how much of a fan I am of the Tanahashi-Okada rivalry. But we get to right here at Wrestle Kingdom 10, and I was just highly anticipating a classic. I think alongside Nakamura Zayn, Taker, Triple H, Hell in a Cell, maybe Punk Cena, but I don't remember if I was watching the build-up to that pay-per-view for Money in the Bank 2011. Those were some of my most anticipated matches when I was a kid, or just as a wrestling fan within the last 10 years. And we get to hear, and wow, this was an unbelievable contest, guys. I mean, the scary thing is that we all knew how great Nakamura and AJ were prior to this, but, you know, pretty much like prior to AJ coming to New Japan in 2014. But let me just say, AJ just improved his overall demeanor as a performer. I mean, instead of just going for all high flying, he went for a more ground-based and more technical style. I mean, if you compare anything AJ did in some of the early years of TNA, he was more of a pure high flyer. And I think you could even see it with some of the recent stuff he did in TNA, like 2013, I think it was. Yeah, he was really trying to, you know, improve his craft, and he was trying to be a little bit more wiser, try to put more psychology and more of a story into his matches. I mean, all those matches he had in TNA were fantastic when he was just the pure high flyer, like Will Ospreay is right now. But I think AJ is just realizing now that, hey, you know, I think he's like 39 years old now. He's turning 40, I think, this year, and he's not going to be wrestling forever, so he knows he has to try to tone down his style a little bit and try to be more of a technical worker. And he proved it. I mean, go watch some of his matches in 2013 in TNA. Two notable ones. The only one I think I saw was the Austin Aries match from TNA. I think it was on an episode of Impact, August 2013. Yeah, AJ really tried working more a technical style, and he definitely worked very well. And then when you go watch the matches he had in Ring of Honor, whether it was with Michael Elgin, Chris Hero, or even in the early days of his New Japan run, he was definitely improving and improving and improving. And I would say from the G1 in 2014 onwards, AJ just blew me away. I mean, my God, he was having classic after classic after classic. And you know what? This is an unpopular opinion, but for me, AJ is even better, not just as a performer, but had probably a better run as a whole in his career in New Japan and on the Indies from 2014 onwards, even more than his TNA run. I love his TNA run. I think he was great, but he was just phenomenal. No pun intended. Or scratch that. Pun intended right there. Just amazing stuff. And Nakamura, I would say, the more you watch Nakamura over the years, he really tried to form his own identity. And I would say 2012, 2013, he formed that identity of the King of Strong style. And he took bits of like Freddie Mercury from, what was that group? I can't remember. A bit of Freddie Mercury and a bit of Michael Jackson. Put them together inside of a wrestler, and bam, you get Shinsuke Nakamura. And he tried using that old school Antonio Inoki strong style into his matches, and it proves it very well. And the combination Nakamura has with the style and the look and the fact that he adds charisma, and he's just the most pure charismatic performer I've seen in New Japan, is amazing. And if you go And the funny thing is, the first time I saw Nakamura, I instantly fell in love with him. He was just, I love Nakamura from the bat. And the first match I saw from Nakamura was his match with Tanahashi at Invasion Attack 2014 for the IC title in the main event. And I fell in love with Nakamura then. I still love watching Nakamura now. And with that out the way, we get to this match, and let me just say, this was a brilliantly worked matchup right here between Nakamura and Styles. And I actually watched the English version of this matchup. Yes, there is an English version. The English commentary was done by Matt Striker, Kevin Kelly, and Yoshitatsu, who sadly didn't really do much. And the reason why I say sadly was because, why the hell was Yoshitatsu on commentary? It just got annoying when I saw the English commentary version of the show, because they were just making fun of him. So yeah, that was bullshit. But anyway, Stryker and Kelly did a great job together commentating that matchup, and that show in general. You know, the commentary between the two was great, as they brought insight to, you know, how the matches were working, how AJ and Nakamura were targeting each other, and how they were targeting certain body parts. In the case of AJ, targeting Nakamura's knee, and for Nakamura, he was targeting AJ's back. And they did a great job with the psychology right here. There was a really funny moment early on in the match where they were still in the you know, the setup portion of the matchup, and when AJ is pushed into the ropes by Nakamura, Nakamura stands back, and then AJ just pointed at Nakamura like in a gun symbol, shoots a bullet, as it looks like. Nakamura catches it and eats the bullet. That was hilarious, I thought. That was just a bit of lighthearted comedy, but then after that, bam, we just kicked it up a notch. And we get to the psychology portion where AJ was sitting on the top rope, but Nakamura pulled him off, and AJ landed awkwardly on his back. And great job by Kelly and Stryker for mentioning the bad back. And it was just used very well. The psychology of AJ's back really made sense, as he is not just a technical worker, but also a high flyer. So it made sense for the back to be targeted, and they did a great job setting that up into the latter portions of the matchup. And I remember them saying on commentary that they said, and I'm talking about Stryker and Kelly, they mentioned the fact that AJ had noted Nakamura for having no flaws. And they did a great call here where they said, and this was in that turnbuckle spot where AJ was pulled off and landed awkwardly on his back, and then he was selling it for a few seconds. He ran after Nakamura, after, you know, almost no-selling it in a sense, getting up and going after Nakamura and attacking him from behind. And they brought up the fact that, remember when AJ said that Nakamura had no flaws? Well, it looks like AJ had exposed a weakness in Nakamura. So yeah, and that flaw being humanity, you know, a little bit of sportsmanship there. So great job on that part. There was a pretty sick spot where AJ was going to hit something on Nakamura, but Nakamura had grabbed AJ and almost kind of did like an STO, a stand tep over or something like that. I don't know what the acronym for STO is, but he pretty much brought him over and almost like slammed him onto his knee. And the spot, at first I thought it was a botch, but it looked pretty nasty, and that was actually believable, and it played up the psychology of AJ's bad back really well. And yeah, and then there was another really cool spot later in the match where Nakamura was running over to AJ and hit, and you know how Nakamura usually sets his opponents up, you know, laying on the top rope or on the top turnbuckle. Well, he did the same thing, but except he had AJ positioned laying on his back first. So when he went for the running high knee lift, it hit AJ straight in the back. And again, another great spot where they played up the psychology of AJ's bad back. Really well done there. And AJ just did a great job of selling it, as well as, let's see, as there was an attempt to hit a standard suplex, but AJ had to just go for a snap suplex. They did a great job of explaining why that happened. You see, when you have simple psychology and you have the commentators explaining why certain things are being done, without having to expose anything like, oh, this was a botch or anything like that. No. AJ had to hit a snap suplex because of his bad back. So something simple as that is what puts the match over the top for me personally. There were some really, really cool spots. There was a bit of a botch, it looked like, where AJ, you know how AJ usually did the springboard, well, not the springboard, but the reverse DDT off the ropes? He tried to do it off of the middle turnbuckle and tried to hit the reverse DDT on Nakamura, but Nakamura was a little too far, so AJ had landed right in front of him. But he kind of what's it called? He made it up for it by turning around and hitting Nakamura with a pretty sweet clothesline. So, yeah, good job on AJ's part for keeping that in check. For keeping the match in check without having to make it look like it was a really bad botch. And there was a pretty sick spot also where Nakamura hit like a leaping Bombardier knee off of the middle rope. You know how Nakamura usually just leaps off the middle rope and hits his opponent with either a kick or a knee? He hit AJ so hard, I actually heard like a thud. My God, that was actually really brutal. The structure of this match was just perfect for me personally. And I think if you were not a fan of Tanahashi Okada, which followed this match, and as I said, my top 100 matches of 2016 video, that was, for me, my match of the year, you're going to love this one. 25 minutes of just pure action, fantastic psychology, great storytelling. Commentary was excellent by Kevin Kelly and Matt Striker. The crowd was freaking loving this matchup. You couldn't really hear very well the crowd, but from what I heard, the crowd was loving it, and they were just losing their mind for some of the latter spots. And even the near falls were just so well done in the latter portions of the match, including where AJ hit like a 450 off the top rope, off the corner, and the crowd, when it looked like he was gonna go for when it looked like AJ was gonna win the match, the crowd just lost their minds. It was like, oh, that was so close. And commentary, again, great job on them from, just for marking out for this matchup right here. Sheesh, man, some phenomenal stuff. And there was actually a great climax to the matchup where after Nakamura was transitioning into a cross arm breaker, I think it was, or an armbar, the transition to that was beautiful. And when he transitioned it into a triangle choke, AJ lifted him up for a Styles Clash. And if you saw on the replay, Matt Striker made a good point that Nakamura used his elbow to block and to stop the attempt to an extent. But if Nakamura had landed much more awkwardly than he did, then he probably would have separated his shoulder. I mean, Matt Striker made a good point that if Nakamura had landed even worse than the way he did with his elbow, then he probably would have separated his shoulder, but thank God that didn't happen. And there was a sweet spot near the end with AJ trying to go for a Super Styles Clash off the top rope. Kind of like the same thing that he beat Naito with the year prior at Wrestle Kingdom 9 in a great matchup there. And a fantastic finish that was. Nakamura countered it by grabbing AJ and actually doing a backwards Falcon Arrow / Michinoku driver. It looks sick. And then we finally get to the end of this matchup where Nakamura hits a Bombardier knee to AJ in the back of the head, which was brutal. AJ sold that very well if you look at his facial expression in that. And then Nakamura hits another Bombardier with force, with such force to the point where AJ actually looked like he overshot, and bam, just sold it very well, like it was such a brutal knee. And 1, 2, 3, Shinsuke Nakamura retains the IWGP Intercontinental Championship in the semi-main event of Wrestle Kingdom 10. What else can I freaking give it but a 5-star freaking rating, guys? My God. I absolutely love this matchup so much. It was one of my most anticipated matches of 2016, alongside Nakamura and Zayn, which I was more excited for, surprisingly. And the scary thing is, not only did that match top this one, but I would say the main event, which was Okada Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom 10, was better than this one. I loved the match here, but not Tanahashi Okada just stole it. It just blew it out of the water. Wrestle Kingdom 10 in general was an amazing show. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. This was a phenomenal matchup. Go find it. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. I actually saw the match on YouTube just a while ago, so you can definitely find a copy of the matchup there. It's easily one of the best matches of the year, and for me, this was one of the 3 greatest matches that AJ and Nakamura regularly have ever had, singles-wise, and a bit of a high praise, but I would say this is one of the 5 to 10 greatest matches the company ever put on. Unbelievable match. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I got more match reviews coming your way. And yes, I was supposed to do this in January, but fuck it, why not? Get this one done before any of you guys crucify me by saying, you're a dipshit for lying. But anyway, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Comment in the comment section below. Let me know what I should do for future match reviews. And until the next video, peace.